Alright, so today we're diving into how CARS passages and questions are crafted for the MCAT. Understanding the test writer's process at AAMC will give you a unique perspective on tackling the CARS section. Imagine yourself in the shoes of a test writer. Think of it as reverse engineering their process to gain an edge on exam day. Choosing the passages. Let's start by looking at how the passages are selected. Unlike the science passages, which may have intentionally tricky phrasing, CARS passages come from third-party sources and are chosen to present natural reading challenges. The passages often feature complex ideas, subtle arguments, or convoluted language that might make you stumble. But remember, original authors didn't intend to make the passage confusing. They are simply expressing their ideas, even if that expression is challenging. The difficulty you encounter isn't there to trick you, it's there to test your ability to understand nuanced writing. So, when you run into a tough spot, don't let it throw you off. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that the challenge is part of the game. If a passage is difficult, that's one reason it was chosen for the exam. The AAMC test writers expect some students to struggle, and they know exactly where those tough spots are. Writing the question. Now, let's imagine a time before the questions even existed. There was a moment when the passage was just sitting on a desk at AAMC, waiting for questions to be written. The process begins with the question stems, those initial prompts that frame what the question is asking. Test writers then generate the correct answer and 3 incorrect but plausible alternatives. When reading the passage, try putting yourself in the shoes of a test writer. Think about where you might place questions if you were writing them yourself. For instance, if a passage discusses 2 opposing viewpoints, you can almost anticipate a question about the author's stance or the main argument. If there's a dense paragraph filled with facts, it's likely that a question will ask you to recall or interpret some of those details. This exercise can make you more intuitive in predicting the types of questions that follow each passage. Question types. Let's go through some common types of CARS questions to illustrate how this works. 1. Main idea questions. These are designed to see if you understand the central point or purpose of the passage. Think of questions like, what is the primary argument made by the author? Which of the following best summarizes the main idea of the passage? Main idea questions often focus on the overall theme, so consider the passage as a whole and ask yourself what the author is fundamentally trying to convey. 2. Author's tone questions. These questions assess your ability to understand the author's attitude. Is the author supportive, critical, or neutral? You might see prompts such as, how does the author feel about? The tone of the passage is best described as words like unfortunately, remarkably, or astonishingly often give away the tone. Pay attention to emotionally charged language. 3. Specific inference questions. Here, you're asked to read between the lines. These questions test whether you can derive deeper meanings from particular phrases or examples in the passage. Prompts might include, the author uses the term. The example given in paragraph 3 suggests that. When you encounter these, make sure you understand not just what was said, but why the author said it. Thematic extension questions. These questions take the author's ideas and ask you to extend them to a new context. Prompts may look like, how would the author respond to a different situation involving, which of the following best extends the argument made in the passage? Think about the principles the author is advocating for and apply them to the new scenario. 5. Facts and information questions. These straightforward questions assess your memory of specific details. While they might seem easy, you must avoid wasting time hunting for information in the passage. According to the passage, who did? What does the author claim about? To answer these, it's crucial to stay organized as you read. Marking where important facts appear can save you precious seconds. The art of writing answer choices. The answer choices in CARS questions aren't randomly written. They are carefully crafted to include 1 correct answer and 3 distractors. The test writers take pride in making these wrong choices sound appealing. There are often subtle differences between the choices, and part of your job is to identify the key detail that makes one option better than the others. Eliminating wrong choices. Sometimes you'll narrow it down to 2 possible answers that both seem right. In this situation, think about how the test writer crafted the wrong answer. Ask yourself, what's flawed about this choice? Look for subtle issues such as extreme language, unsupported conclusions, or statements that go beyond the passage's scope. The correct choice will usually withstand scrutiny, while the wrong one may have a hidden flaw. For example, If two choices both seem to address the main idea, ask yourself which one reflects the tone and content more accurately. The correct answer will align more closely with what the author is truly arguing, while the incorrect choice may include an exaggeration or oversimplification. Test writers' tricks: anchoring and motivated wrong answers. Let's reveal a common test writer's tactic: anchoring. Sometimes the most plausible wrong. Answer appears first among the answer choices to anchor your thinking. By presenting a subtly incorrect but tempting choice early on, the test writer hopes you'll latch onto it without critically evaluating the others. The best way to counter this is to mentally answer the question before looking at any choices. Imagine you're tasked with writing the correct answer yourself. Then, read the actual choices with a critical eye. If you see an answer that matches your own thinking, it's likely correct, but still evaluate the others for potential flaws. When you're stuck, you're bound to face situations where two answers seem equally plausible. Remember that. AAMC has deliberately made one of those answers subtly flawed. Your task is to find that flaw by focusing on what's wrong rather than what's right. Attack the answer choices critically. Look for unsupported claims, extreme language, or interpretations that the passage doesn't substantiate. For example, if one choice generalizes too much beyond the scope of the passage while the other sticks more closely to the text, the latter is probably the correct answer. Practicing like a test writer. To get better at cars, practice reading passages as if you're the one writing the questions. Think about how each paragraph might lead to a specific type of question and predict what the test writer would ask. This approach will help you anticipate tricky areas and improve your ability to identify key information. Don't forget to revisit past practice passages. One mistake students often make is thinking that once they've reviewed a passage, they're done with it. But revisiting passages helps reinforce your understanding of the test writer's methods. Try to reach a level of familiarity where you can almost predict the questions that would come from each paragraph. Doing this will not only help you recognize patterns in Carr's passages, but also give you a more intuitive sense of how the test writers think. Wrapping it up. In summary, keep in mind that the AAMC test writers are skilled at crafting both passages and questions in a way that tests your critical reading skills. To perform well on Carrs: 1. Think like a test writer and anticipate where questions may arise. 2. Understand the different question types and develop strategies for each. 3. Practice identifying both correct and incorrect answer choices to recognize the subtle tricks test writers use. 4. Don't skip revisiting previously completed passages for deeper insights. To continue honing your skills, download the King of the Curve app or visit kingofthecurve.org. We offer over 200 Carrs passages for free practice, all designed to mirror the structure and style of AAMC's questions. Keep practicing, and let's boost those scores together.